This one has a front wrapper. Well, good morning. Rob Man here from the Blue Boy podcast. I wanted to go with something a little bit lighter, so we'll talk about this cigar here in a little while when we take off the wrapper. But good morning. I've got this fire burning down. Had it going a little bit earlier, so we're just going to go ahead and let it burn out. A little bit colder this morning, but now it's warmed up quite a bit. But hey, you know what? We got our cigar. We got our coffee. We're ready to make a video. Okay? All right. And today I wanted to talk about some things. Okay. So recently, like most people, I picked up this new game, Helldivers. It's really good. One of the particular things that's good about it is it just reminds me of like the old days of like Halo, or any of those games that you would get on Destiny, like the first Destiny. Something that's just fun to just get on and play with people. Nothing fancy, just simply you just get on, you play. I mean, it has a decent story and stuff. This video is not so much about Helldivers though. It is and it isn't, right? Because there's a lot of people there that are going to talk about this game in depth and everything. I told you this isn't a gaming channel. I do like to talk about current events though and what I'm up to. So that's what I've been doing. But you know, playing it so much, it just made me think about some things, because especially when a new game like this comes out and it's got like some sort of battle pass, or in this case it's got war bonds, right? You know, basically something you're going to put money into. You're going to make your character look a certain way, and they suck you in. They suck you in real good. These games are very, very addicting. Very addicting. Which is fine. It's fine. Except, you know, I'm not like a little 20-something anymore. So I see it happening. I already see it happening. I was at work and I was thinking about playing this game. I was, I figured out how to play it mobily. That was going to be very bad. Because, you know, you can get your PlayStation, you can get it to play video games on your phone. From like, you know, if you have data on your phone, or if you're on Wi-Fi or whatever, you can play it. And it just, something in the back of my head is just, it's like, Rob, man, this is a problem, dude. Like, you need to chill out. So I want to talk about a couple of things in this video. I want to talk about balance. I want to talk about purpose. And I want to talk about the things that pull us away from that. And they're not always necessarily bad until you make them bad. Most things are not inherently good or bad. It's an object, right? This cigar is just an object. If it becomes the driving force of my life, where all I care about is smoking cigars all day long, and it starts to impede my life, that's where it becomes a problem. And video games have this talent like no other. But there are a lot of things that do this, you know. Everybody likes to look down on drug addicts, right? Which is not great. Not great. Drugs, not great. I've seen firsthand, really not a great thing. But what I can tell you about it is we're all more okay with the things that are more socially acceptable to us, like food, or video games, or movies, or sex, or anything that can be overindulged in, that can be detrimental to your mental health. mental health is so important these days, but you know, a lot of people don't think about it, and they don't think about the proper balance. We're really just driven by this instinct to get instant gratification. I see a lot of channels talking about this. Um, so, you know, I don't want to overdo it, but one analogy I thought of, and it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I thought of a little analogy called the house, the garden, and the hammock. These are three things to represent different areas of our lives. So, the house being your work, um, your purpose, what you're doing, uh, you know, the things that you're doing to, you know, try to, you know, support your family or get ahead in this life or whatever it is, the things that are important to you. The garden, your family, your personal life, the things that matter most to you. Okay. Could be, like I said, your family, art, whatever it is, things that really kindle your spirit. And then the hammock, being able to sit back, relax, and enjoy it all. Meditation, prayer, you believe in God, that sort of thing. Taking that time out of your day to slow down. I think a lot of us, we are almost always neglecting one of these areas. They're almost never all in sync. They are, you're doing all right. But most of us, including myself, because this I got addicted into Helldivers real good. Not as bad as some people, but especially because I can't play it all the time because I work and I work extra hours. But if I didn't, I just see myself playing this nonstop. To go into the analogy of the house, you want to keep your house in order. You want to keep it clean. You know, and you really want to focus on making sure everything's working, the pipes, everything in the house. You want to make sure it's all working well. The garden, you want to make sure it's tended to. You want to make sure that you've got food growing out there, chickens, whatever it is. You know, we'll throw some farm animals in there. Why not? Okay. You want to make sure your family, you're on a good front with them. And then you want to make sure you're getting that time in to relax. Okay. But a lot of the time, we will, I see a lot of people, especially women these days, they're real focused on the house. They're real focused on the career. They're real focused on the purpose. They're real focused on the drive. A lot of guys could do with a little bit of more of this, but the truth of the matter is it's important. They're all equally important. But if you spend too much time in the house, then the garden's gonna die. Okay, you're not gonna get, or you know, you're not gonna get everything out of the garden that you would like to. If you just focus on the house and the garden, but then you leave out the hammock, what's the point of all of it? You're not taking the time to sit back and enjoy. I'm gonna go ahead and take the wrapper off. Um, so it's the morning time. I still plan to go to the gym today. haven't got the gym in yet. So I'm doing something a little bit lighter. This is a Connecticut shade, okay? Because there's different varietals of cigars, different intensities, different leaves. This would be a lighter one. And this is probably one of the very, very, very well-known brand, very good brand, consistent. If you see this on a shelf and you're like, I don't know what to get, Rob, man, this is, you can't ever almost go wrong with anything that this company puts out. Perdomo, Habano, very good. Like I said, this is their Connecticut shade. Connecticut's are just known around the cigar community, very light tobacco. Um, and it's not, you know, so I like my Maduros, but not this early in the day. Um, so this will give you still a nice, decent buzz, and then you just get on with your day. I like that. I really, I really enjoy all the cigars. When I say I like Maduros, I just, you know, I tend towards those, but these are really good too. And you got to know, uh, you know, what you want from the cigar before you start smoking it. A little side note: a lot of friends of mine, we were sitting around smoking cigars, and it was a buddy of mine, his first time smoking. So I gave him something light. I gave him a Connecticut, and a cheap one too. I think I gave him a Quorum Connecticut. You know, I was like, this will be a good starter for you. Okay, this is going to be a good for my Pokemon people out there. It's like him catching a Pidgey. Okay, this is his first cigar. Um, and I wanted it to go really well, but some of the other guys around wanted to mess with him, so they started challenging him to a race because he's saying he's faster than all of them. So next thing you know, this guy is racing up and down, and I told him, I said, "Don't run," you know what I mean? They were like, "Oh, why don't you race?" I was like, "I just had me a Romeo and Juliet. I'm not running up and down." But these guys are running up and down, running up and down, running up and down. Actually, I didn't have a Romeo and Juliet that night. I had the specialty hand rolled cigar somebody gave me. I don't even know where it was from. It was dark tobacco though. I liked it. But anyway, so this guy, he's running up and down, running up and down. These guys are tricking him. They're all switching off, like, "Oh, now I'll race you. Now I'll race you." And he beat him some of the times. Other times he didn't do so hot. What do you think happened about 20 minutes later? That dude was over in a corner puking his guts out. So if you're gonna smoke a cigar, have some time to chill afterwards. I'm not going to the gym right after this. I'm gonna let it settle, and then I head out maybe around noon. A lot of the times when you need to un-F your life, you need to unscrew your life, man. When your life is just screwed, it's because you focus too much on one thing. Now the laundry's not done. Okay? There's pizza boxes stacking up. You decided you're going to play video games all day. Video games are good. They're a good way to release some stress. But when you start playing too much of them, same thing for you ladies that a lot of you are getting into careers. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you make the career the sole purpose of what you're doing, your life is unbalanced. I'm gonna butcher the name of the book. I read it a while back. The whatever, the ethics book. Okay, the ethics book, written by Aristotle. Okay, so the book is basically it's not a long book. It's a little bit hard to read because you need to get a really good translation from the Greek. But basically, what he's talking about in the book is what is the greatest good, as he puts it. So what is what is the greatest that humans can aspire to, and what he ends up finding is balance in all things. Balance in work, balance in home, balance in pleasure. I guess video games could fall under the hammock category. You don't want to be a lazy bum. He just lays in his hammock all day. Okay? I see a lot of people do this. They say, "Oh, well, I've been praying. I've been praying." Right, but you got to pray and then you got to go do. You got you got to put it into practice. No good, Jesus talks in the Bible about a tree bearing fruit, right? So, are you bearing any fruits in your life? And that doesn't mean what I don't mean. Are you going out like a salesperson and evangelizing the people if you're a Christian, or are you, the point of this entire thing is it's okay to grind, no one to put it down. It's okay to spend time with family. Especially, I think family is one of the most important things in this life. But don't neglect your work, otherwise you can't support them. Don't neglect the hammock, or you're going to be so stressed out that you can't focus on anything else. The whole point is enjoyment. I think about it whenever I'm on vacation or I've got a little time to myself or whatever it is. It's all for this. It's working to see people again, to have the special occasions, the celebrations, the hard times. And if you're nurturing all those things, when you're going through a hard time, there's going to be people around to help you. You got to nurture that stuff. Anyway, guys, I know I'm talking a lot about not playing video games, but this video game, Helldivers, is really good, particularly because it's helping me to spend more time again with friends that I don't get to see quite as much anymore. It's nice to be able to get on there and spend some time with some people. And the nice thing is, there's easier difficulties where you guys can just chill, run around, and there's harder difficulties where, if you want, you can challenge yourselves and be careful you don't want to wreck any friendships. Remember, it's just a game. That's a lot of the time. What I don't really have as much of a hard time with that. For me, games are always this kind of games, but especially the more competitive among us, you can forget that. And if you're not enjoying what you're doing, what's the purpose of it? You got to enjoy. You got to be able to laugh at yourself. If somebody, because in this game, people will drop bombs on you. People will accidentally shoot you in the back of the head. They'll drop down these turrets that will shoot you. Like, you just got to laugh. And this game has all kinds of crazy circumstances that can happen. Kind of like life. So keep everything balanced and roll with the punches. Don't get so caught up. A lot of people, they get caught up in a specific outcome, and if they don't get that outcome, then everything else is just the worst. Somebody that knows what they're talking about, and I'm not going to say who, but recently he said, I understand people who are always in the mind of criticizing themselves and feeling like they could do better, because that's the mindset of champions. Okay, while I do think that is valuable, if you look at the lives of a lot of champions, they sacrificed a lot. I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong. You look at the life of like somebody like Magic Johnson or Larry Bird. These guys sacrificed their bodies. They sacrificed their families, time with their families. They neglected a lot of that stuff to be the best at the game, the best of basketball. To be the best at something, it takes a sort of dedication. It takes a sort of willingness to like miss out on a child's birthday party or things like that. So the real question you got to ask yourself is, what are you here on this life for? What is it all for? Is it for people? Is it for family? Is it for yourself? Is it for God? Is it for the greater good? What is it for? You have to realize the answers to these questions, and then you can start to move in the direction that you want to move in. Because at no point, even though I talk about this and the balance and everything, at no point, almost no point, is everything going to be in balance. Life is too chaotic. Life is too much in flux. Okay, so if everything's not in balance, everything's not in balance in my life. I got some stuff in the house I got to tend to. I got to clean some stuff up. I got to get some laundry done. Got to get to the gym today. Helldivers is going to have to take a break for a little bit today. Okay, I got to spend some time with somebody. I got to call somebody. Those are all the things that are important to me. The people. I had a buddy of mine, he called me. He needed help moving a couch. I just said, no problem. Because I know that it's a big deal to have somebody take time out of the day to come help you, to put whatever they got aside and show you that they care. And I guess if you want to look at this as like an investment or something, invest in things that are going to invest in you later on. That doesn't mean be selfish, okay? Because there is a lot of room in this world for selflessness. And there's not a lot of people who are very selfless. So I'm not saying to neglect that, but I know I've seen a lot of people, they give into relationships or into jobs, into things that they're not netting much back to them, and it's leaving them spiritually, emotionally, physically drained. You got to take care of that stuff. As a guy, I tend to suppress things, push things down, say I'm not gonna worry about this. I'll worry about it later. Somebody, I heard somebody recently say it's like kind of like the refrigerator. You can only put so many leftovers in the fridge. You just say, I'm going to deal with this later. I'll eat this later. I'll eat this later. Eventually, your fridge is going to stink. It's going to be full of food. You can't fit nothing else in there. That's your mind. You got to make sure you're emptying that stuff out somehow. So, ramble over. Look, I'm really enjoying Helldivers. I am. I'm just trying not to enjoy it too much so that I'm keeping the rest of my life balanced and keeping everything else going. But hey, if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. But if you don't want, just subscribe, okay? We're gonna be talking about a lot of things. If you guys are ever wondering where to get cigars in bulk, I like to go to it, and I'm not obviously my channel's super small. I'm not like sponsored or anything. That would be awesome one day, maybe. But just dropping that out there. But seriously, there's a website called Cigar Bid, and uh, if you want to get cigars for a little bit cheaper, it's kind of like eBay. You get on there, you see what they have, put a bid on it, you put like the most you're willing to pay for it, and sometimes you'll win these auctions and you'll get uh, a good amount. I just got a bunch of Partagas cigars for like I want to say I got like 6 cigars for $8, which was incredible because one of the cigars in that pack is worth $8 at least, if not more. It's an expensive. It's an expensive habit. I try not to smoke all the time. Usually only on my days off. Um, when I really have time to enjoy a cigar, and that way I'm not overindulging in it. I try to be careful with that. But thank you guys so much for watching. As always, do more. Get out there. Enjoy this beautiful day. Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful day. Not a lot of wind. Sun's out. I'm going to try to enjoy this day as well. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your house, your garden, your hammock. I'll see you guys in the next one.